All right, Scott, thank you so much. Let's get to this story. In Fox Chase, an elderly woman is dead. 2 firefighters are in the hospital after a bad house fire last night. Firefighters were called to the scene at Fawn Street and Veree Road around 7 p.m. Officials say heavy fire erupted from the second story of the row home. It took crews about an hour to contain the flames. When they made it inside, they found the 70-year-old woman's body. 2 firefighters were also taken to Torresdale Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Back here in Old City, flames tear through an Old City building overnight, forcing dozens of people from their homes into the cold. All of this starting shortly after 3 o'clock this morning. Sabina Kuriakos is live from the scene with the very latest. And Sabina, we just heard before the show started that firefighters finally got the blaze under control. Being a good get on getting Commissioner Adam Teal, and as you heard, he said this will be a firefight for his team for several hours and days to come. If you are coming into the city or you live in and around the Old City area, you want to avoid this area because even for us coming into the studios at 4th and Market, many of the streets here are blocked off because the firefighters have sort of set a boundary around this fire. So if you are coming into the city, avoid the area because firefighters are very busy. We're going to stay on top of this story and bring you an update in just a bit. Now to a developing story out of Florida. Friends and family gathered to honor 17-year-old Joaquin Oliver, who was killed in Wednesday's high school shooting. His friends called him Guac for short because many struggled to pronounce his name. He was described as a goofball with a unique soul. He was also known as the goalkeeper playing in community soccer games.
Throughout his life, he played sports, really enjoyed it, always had jerseys on in school. Never caught him without a smile on his face playing sports. He just all-around great kid and just brought the environment to a happy place. Like, it's just tragedy.
So many fond memories of him. Students wore jerseys at the memorial to honor Joaquin. For some, grief, though, has now turned into anger.
Because of these gun laws, people that I know, people that I love have died.
Thank you for your prayers and condolences, but that is not enough. You're doing the same thing again and again, and the same thing continues to happen. We say stop it today.
Thousands, including students who survived Wednesday's deadly shooting, rushed to the streets yesterday in Fort Lauderdale and St. Petersburg, demanding U.S. gun laws change in our country. And we're told this is just the beginning. Several more protests are planned for later this week. Fox's Rick Leventhal joins us live from Broward County with the very latest this morning. Hi, Rick. Yes, and we're hearing more protests planned as well. Rick, thank you so much for the updates. In Utah, a small business owner trying to keep teachers safe, now offering a free concealed carry class. Brian McElroy believes arming teachers will prevent another tragedy like the deadly school shooting in Parkland, Florida. The class also open to students if they're 18 years or older. Utah allows teachers with permits to carry firearms on public school campuses. Gun rights advocates rallied at the Arizona State Capitol yesterday in support of the Second Amendment. The event was planned in advance, but in the wake of this week's deadly school shooting in Florida, the focus then shifted to the victims. Fox's Courtney Griffin has that story. We're staying on top of breaking news out of Old City where flames tore through a building. It's on Chestnut Street between 2nd and 3rd. This was overnight, forcing dozens of people out into the cold. The fire breaking out directly across the street from the Museum of the American Revolution. Here's what we know right now. The fire did reach 4 alarms. At this time, there are no reports of any injuries. The fire commissioner just spoke to Sabina, telling us he's unsure at this time where that fire started. People who had to evacuate were allowed inside a nearby hotel to stay warm. SEPTA buses also rolled into the area to let people get on and sort of wait it out. So we are still looking at the scene live, and we are told that this firefight will continue for several hours due to that structure. We know how Old City architecture can be. All right, this week of weather is sure to confuse you, and here is why. We had freezing temperatures yesterday, we had snow last night, and then it's going to be in the 70s. But snow's blanketing the area right now. Scott, what the heck is going on outside?
It's called weather whiplash, Lauren. So buckle up, get ready for that roller coaster ride.
The students also linked up library officials with parents to have a conference about getting kids more engaged. I used to love the library as a kid. Uh-oh, Scott's opening up something over here. What's this? Toothpaste?
Toothpaste.
That's fancy toothpaste. I've never seen that before.
It's
Scott's
magic
fancy.
toothpaste.
Okay, so someone on Twitter posted a question about, do you wet the toothbrush first or do you put the toothpaste on first and then just start brushing? So people went sort of crazy. Now it's a big debate. It has divided Twitter users. Well, some dentists tried to jump in and help with the debate, try to put it to rest, telling people what they should actually do. So I asked the question on Twitter this morning, and a lot of people are responding. Most people, I would say, Scott, think that they should, or at least this is what they do. I wet my toothbrush, apply the toothpaste, wet it again, and then I go at it. That's what Carla told us. Linda says she puts the Kenya says she puts on toothpaste, then wets it. Mike, I wet mine. Vince, I wet it first. PJ says he does it dry, but he wants to talk about other stuff instead of toothbrushing. Apparently, though, dentists say we're all doing it wrong if we wet it first because it sort of breaks down the molecules in the toothpaste, and then it's not as effective.
So you want it a little rough.
You want it a little dry.
Okay. Do you like a soft toothbrush, the medium, or the hard?
I like soft.
Okay.
Because I've learned, I used to like hard ones, but I've learned when you get them too hard, it like hurts your gums.
Yeah. And then,
No.
of course, do you turn the water off while you're brushing?
No, I
You leave
don't.
a little trickle?
Because I don't like when you're brushing and stuff. Ooh, yeah, it grosses me
I
out.
try and turn it off.
I try.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. A local teenager steps into the ring and puts on her gloves, hoping for the Olympics in Tokyo. Little does she know, though, her dad will be her biggest challenge. We'll explain this daddy versus daughter story coming up. This is silly science.
Yeah.
And I think it's silly because I want to talk about this. Going on a first date, according to scientists, can be just as thrilling as jumping out of an airplane. So a new study found that the thrill of a first date can induce just as much adrenaline as skydiving. Researchers found that the average heart rate of a person doing indoor skydiving was 111 beats per minute. It's very close to the heart rate of a person that's going on a blind date, which was 106 beats per minute. Let's be very clear. Jumping out of a plane means your life is on the line because anything can happen. That string can pop, the parachute can't come up. Going on a first date, there is nothing on the line at all.
Exactly. I've never jumped out of a plane either, but I mean, I guess it's just your heartbeat. You know, you're anxious, you don't know what you're going to talk about. Are you going to like the person? Are you going to have to bail?
Look, for me, I can't relate to that. I just can't.
Have you ever had to bail on a first date?
No, but I've had to bail out of skydiving. I went up in the plane, suited up, was all ready, looked over the edge of the plane and was like, nope, take me back down.
Wow.
Cannot do it.
My credit card didn't scan one time. So,
on a first date?
On a date. I had to like run to the ATM and get some cash out. Because they're like, your card's not swiping.
Were you embarrassed?
A little bit.
I can see how that happens, though. That is the worst when you're out with someone you don't know well.
Bank.
Yeah, Scott's like, this isn't an everyday occurrence. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see the adrenaline of the first date being the same as jumping out of a plane. I just, for me, it's not.
Yeah.
I get it, though. I understand. All right, let's get serious for a second. We have some breaking news to cover here in Old City. A fire displaces hundreds of people. Sabina has been there since the beginning. Hi, Sabina. Absolutely. And Sabina, you were just there yesterday for a mass honoring and saluting those firefighters and paramedics who serve this community. So good work by them always. Now to that developing story out of Florida. Friends and family gathered to honor 17-year-old Joaquin Oliver, who was killed in Wednesday's high school shooting. His friends called him Guac, short for guacamole, because many people struggled to pronounce his name properly. Described as a goofball with a unique soul, he was also known as the goalkeeper. He played in a lot of community soccer games.
Throughout his life, played sports, really enjoyed it, always had jerseys on in school. Never caught him without a smile on his face playing sports. He just all around great kid and just brought the environment to a happy place. Like, it's just tragedy.
Students, as you can see there, wore jerseys at the memorial service to honor Joaquin. For some, grief has now turned to anger.
Because of these gun laws, people that I know, people that I love have died.
Thank you for your prayers and condolences, but that is not enough. You're doing the same thing again and again, and the same thing continues to happen. We say stop it today.
Thousands, including some students who survived Wednesday's deadly shooting, rushed to the streets yesterday in Fort Lauderdale and St. Petersburg, demanding U.S. gun laws be changed in the U.S. And we're told this is just the beginning. Several more protests are planned this week. Fox's Rick Leventhal joins us live from Broward County, Florida, with the latest this morning. Good morning, Rick.